all right. Back to Bring the Juice. We're here on Radio Row. We have the president and CEO of the Super Bowl host committee, Sam Joffray. Sam, appreciate having you on Bring the Juice. Like we were just chopping it up, it's here. It's the week of. Got to be like anything in life when there's an anticipation towards a goal. A lot of emotion, a lot of nerves, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into this.
Yeah.
Let's start with, when did you get this tossed on your plate? Hey, we're having the Super Bowl.
I was actually at Super Bowl in Tampa, and my phone rang from a gentleman here in Las Vegas that said, we just got the bid documents to host a Super Bowl for Las Vegas in 2024.
Wow.
Heard you've done this a few times. I've worked on the bid process and the host committees for quite a few of them in New Orleans over my 20-plus year career there. So I'd done 3 Super Bowls in New Orleans, Final Fours, NBA All-Star games, WrestleManias. So they called me and they said, would love to chat with you about possibly helping guide us through this process, maybe provide some therapy along the way. And so I got out of that Super Bowl in Tampa, met with them, and we started working on the bid process for Super Bowl in 2021.
In the bid process itself, do you basically say, hey, this is why we should have the Super Bowl here, or do you have to determine, hey, this is
a little more than why. It's why, how. You have to demonstrate to the NFL staff that do this every year that we have the hotel rooms, we have the venues, we have the capacity, we have the infrastructure, the public safety, the stadium, the other venues needed for all these parties, and we have a motivated community that wants to host it. So you go through about a 9-month process of physically securing contracts for venues to guarantee the NFL will have them to host the media center at, for example, or special events. You got to demonstrate that you have enough hotel rooms reserved for the Super Bowl universe of people that come. You got to work on budgets. It's a 9-month administrative process, but it's for Vegas. It was really interesting because where New Orleans and Miami have 10 Super Bowls under the belt to pull out the playbook, tweak it. As the Super Bowl grows, they've at least got a foundation to work off of. Here in Vegas, we were sitting here during COVID. The stadium had not even hosted a football game yet, so we didn't know what the staffing looked like for a stadium. We didn't know what the pedestrian traffic would look like, how to get there. We didn't know a lot of things, so we were applying a lot of educated guesses, darts at the wall, as we built out those plans. So that was a really interesting part. And then you get it awarded in January. You got it awarded in December of 21, and then you get to work on January of 22. So it's been a 2-year effort now, and 2 years of work, but definitely decades of anticipation for Vegas.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, before we get into what it means for Vegas, a project this big, the best way to eat elephants one bite at a time, right? Mm-hmm. But when you have this huge project that's just, it's one of the biggest stages in the world. The Super Bowl is known, and America's number one. I believe in that. And Super Bowl is one of the biggest days in America. It's up there. It's a holiday in my family.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you did? The first meeting, what were you like, okay, we got to start delegating, we got to start creating committees for this, that, and the other, or what did you think at home when you laid at bed that night? Like, holy crap, I gotta plan a Super Bowl right now.
Well, once we got it awarded, I knew immediately, as somebody coming from New Orleans, brand new to the market, had just spent 9 months learning about venues and learning how the city worked and starting to meet people, I knew that what we needed was a committee structure of experts in every field that touches the obligations to the bid. So transportation experts, media and PR experts. I needed the best of the best in Vegas to lend their expertise, volunteer in a committee structure to help our small staff get this thing right. So in the setup of that committee structure, if I hadn't have had a murderer's row of media and PR people, an all-star cast of transportation people here in Vegas telling me, here's how we do it for EDC, or here's how we do it for the trade shows, all these other major events that Vegas does year-round, it would have been a totally different situation. But we had enormous community support to come together and help put this thing together.
I mean, you mentioned that there's other cities out there that, that have hosted Super Bowls, multiple, and they could just do little tweaks here and there. because this is the first for Vegas, obviously it's a different project. What does this mean for the city of Las Vegas?
You know, it means a lot more than people realize. For decades, NFL, Super Bowl, Las Vegas couldn't be in the same sentence. Las Vegas wasn't even allowed to buy a commercial during the game to advertise Las Vegas for tourism purposes. There was that hard of a line drawn. And then you fast forward to everything that happened with the Supreme Court and sportsbook betting, and you start to see it become a national phenomenon.
Right.
Opened up the door for Vegas to then start hosting professional sports teams, building venues. So at an explosive rate. So from 2017 to now,
right?
Look at what's happened with the Golden Knights, and we've got a Stanley Cup here.
Yeah.
We've got a world-class NFL stadium here.
It's awesome.
Baseball stadiums are starting to get planned and built.
Yeah.
So it's a whole new sports economy here.
What makes Vegas different? Why is this Super Bowl going to be absolutely different than every other Super Bowl?
Biggest answer to that, there's already a couple 100,000 people at least that come to Vegas every year for Super Bowl. It is their pilgrimage.
Right.
That background to bringing the actual Super Bowl on top of that. So you've already got the parties, you've got the VIP events that happen every year for Super Bowl weekend. Second biggest weekend in Vegas every year. New Year's Eve being the first. So when we shoehorn Super Bowl on top of what's already happening here every year, it's without a doubt going to be the biggest weekend of the year, if not ever, for Las Vegas.
What about big events planned? You have some crazy events pulled up your sleeve. Is there? Obviously last night we mentioned, when we're referencing this right now, Monday was the opening night of the Super Bowl. People were able to go into the stadium. The teams came out. Awesome. It was almost this beautiful pageantry. Being a guy who's loved football and played football a lot in my life, I've been to Allegiant before. I haven't seen it at that level and that stage. And there's definitely a little extra crisp in the air when it's Super Bowl, man. It's American. I mean, it's good old gritty American football. This is our holiday. This is what we do.
Yep.
That was a big start. What else can people expect this Super Bowl week, whether it's for the teams, the fans, anything in between?
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, over the past 2 years, we had a lot of stuff that we had up on the wall. A lot of big things that we wanted to do, knowing the expectation on Vegas is high.
Right.
We had some really innovative, creative fan events designed. We had some really creative activations designed. How do we take this and make this over the top? But we're also very conscious about, we want to make sure it's a frictionless experience.
Got it.
For the media, for the fans, for the sponsors, for anybody who's coming, we want to make sure we didn't overcomplicate things. So we actually took stuff off the table and said, let's save this one for another Super Bowl. Let's save this one for another Super Bowl. Let's get this one right and make sure that we're not complicating things, that we're not creating undue burden on traffic or public safety or anything else. Let's get this one right. So what you're going to see this week is everything that happens in Las Vegas every year for Super Bowl, from the parties, ridiculous viewing parties that the resort partners host. Then you're going to see the NFL official events, the Super Bowl experience. You're going to see that slate of events that follow Super Bowl, Taste of the NFL, Soulful Celebration, Gospel Breakfasts. There's a whole roster of Super Bowl events to come. Then there's another roster of about 60 to 90 third-party events that come as well.
Right.
So
I've been invited to a few of them.
Yeah. The Super Bowl on top of what we have here in Vegas. We haven't even talked yet about the shows, the entertainment, the dining, everything else. There's going to be something for everybody at this Super Bowl.
I'm a competitor, and I feel like to do the job you do, Sam, you have to be a competitor in order to succeed. Is there a piece of you that says, hey, the goal is this is going to be the best Super Bowl that's ever been? Obviously, the game, you can't predict the score or anything like that. You can't even predict the teams that are going to be in it. But can you say, as from a Super Bowl experience, this will be number one? Is that the mindset going in?
No, I'll tell you what our goal is. It's a mission statement that we repeat weekly almost. We want to make sure that on Monday morning, there's two parts of the equation. Monday morning, we want everybody on the NFL side of the equation. That's the owners, the teams, the media, the sponsors, the fans. are all saying that was epic. How the Super Bowl should be here every year, or how fast can the Super Bowl come back to Vegas?
Right.
Other part of that equation is we need Las Vegas saying that was awesome. How fast can the Super Bowl come back to Vegas?
Yeah.
So if both of those groups of people concur that this was the ideal marriage, ideal event, can't wait for it to happen again, then we've hit our
Did
mark.
what you need to do.
And then at the next Super Bowl, that's where we'll start to say, okay, now how do we do it better? What did we not get right in 2024?
Right.
Because there will be some things we miss. But then how can we now take it to yet even another level? I think just being in Vegas takes it to another level already.
Yeah, I think it does too.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So, Sam, you're the man behind the scenes. What would you say, is there, and I know you can't reveal all this, but I saw some clips about, boxes being X amount of money and all that stuff. What is the coolest experience you could possibly have besides playing in the Super Bowl? What's the most VIP you could be for a ticket to this game?
Wow. So On Location is the official hospitality provider for the stadium, so they've got incredible offerings that are going to, get you field access afterwards. Certainly there's going to be bottles of champagne with sparklers like Vegas does. That's really cool. But I would say that if you're lucky enough to be anybody in that stadium on Sunday, it's going to be a Super Bowl like you've never seen.
Wow.
First Super Bowl ever to have a DJ. You look at that stadium, it feels like a nightclub when you're in it. The amenities are to that point where it feels like you're already in a nightclub.
Yep.
So whether you are 50-yard line lower or you're in the end zone on the 300 level, you're going to have an experience there that transcends the in-game production and experience more than just the halftime show. It's going to be during TV commercial breaks. It's going to be in the level of bottle service you might be able to get somewhere. It is a whole nother level of service.
You mentioned the halftime show, getting to decide what's our halftime show going to be. Is that something under your jurisdiction or nothing?
Nothing to do there.
Okay.
The only thing we had to do with that was constantly voicing our wishes that it would be representative of the destination.
Fair.
So whoever you bring in, because Apple Music plays a part in that, Rock Nation plays a part in that. There's so many people that play a role in that decision process, but we wanted to make sure that it felt like there's unmistakably Las Vegas.
Right.
Which doesn't mean you need to have showgirls.
No.
But at the same time, there's a nightclub feel to Vegas.
Right.
There's a performance feel to Vegas. We think Usher checked all those boxes.
Absolutely.
That's a residency. That's a good representation of what you can find in Vegas on any of the 365 days a year here.
I gotta ask, just because there was chatter recently, you see the socials.
Oh, we're going to talk about Taylor, right?
You have to. Is there a Taylor Swift plan for the Super Bowl? I gotta ask.
When the Chiefs won that day, my phone rang about 30 seconds afterwards with the Taylor Swift question. And as a host committee guy who's, we've just put together the plans here, we help execute them. But, the first thing that went off in my mind was, we better start putting some wedding chapels on hold. And
it's a hot take. It's a hot take, Sam. Who knows?
But she's going to deliver another level of excitement. I think it's something that is very Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about that level of A-list people that are going to be in the stadium for this Super Bowl,
that's 1A.
Yeah. She's one of the many A's, but she's a capital A.
Yeah.
And certainly will have some great tea time. Hopefully we can get her. Maybe we can get her a shirt that has the Las Vegas logo on it.
Oh,
and
that'd be
then,
awesome.
That would work.
That'd be awesome. My last question I got for you, Sam. So, the logo. There's all these rumors about the colors of the logo. I don't believe any of that BS personally, but just Super Bowl logos in general. They used to be a little more freehand drawn, it looks like. Now there's kind of a consistent pattern of the letters. I like it. I don't know why people are complaining. Anybody playing the Super Bowl, I don't think they care that much about it because they're in the Super Bowl at this point, right? So
right.
The hell with the letters. Do you get to determine the logo at all of the Super Bowl? Is there a different committee that does that?
No, the NFL has a very robust creative team that does that. Again, they looked for our input. We wanted to make sure that it was representative of the destination. We wanted to make sure that it was authentic and correct. So when they started looking at silhouettes of the skyline and things like that, we wanted to make sure that they, we had a little bit of input on that. But, the color scheme certainly was worked on over a year ago, so any conspiracy theory around that would have had to have been started before last football season. Yeah. So I think that you could probably go back and look at every Super Bowl logo for the past 15, 20 years, compare the color palette to the 4 teams that were in the championship game, and find 2 common colors in there.
No, I know.
Blue, red.
It's Fugazi.
Purple, yeah.
Well, Sam, I appreciate you again. Sam Joffray, the president and CEO of the Super Bowl host committee.
Oh, pleasure.
I appreciate you coming on, bring the juice. This has been fun, and I hope to come back. Right?
Yeah. Anytime you want me to help, bring
Absolutely.
the juice.
Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know if you're